Okay, my dear friends, today we are going to talk about the two main principles of piano articulation, staccato and legato. I know this maybe sounds too simple and some of you would say, why is she talking about this? But yet, if our main bass kind of techniques are not correct, it will be very, very hard to perfect them or improve them at a later stages when we deal with something more complicated. And also many of the beginners, they keep asking me this question, how do you do staccato? How do you do legato? We don't understand, especially when it comes to adult beginners, because we were not born to play piano and these movements are not natural. Unless, of course, we are geniuses. So, for those of us who are confused a little bit, here's the tips and explanation. Let's start, for example, with staccato. Now, staccato means playing short. And some people play like this. And although it maybe look very playful and lovely, it's not actually going to help you because we are using our wrist, and when we use our wrist, we waste a lot of energy. So we need to be very intelligent when you play staccato. I have a very simple formula, which again, I was taught, it's not mine, I was taught by my amazing piano teacher back in Ukraine, Sergei Yushkevich, who was an amazing pianist. And one day he said to me, look, imagine there is a little bit of dirt on the keys and try to clean it with your finger. And that is the basic movement which is required to play staccato. And it really works because when you play, let's say, okay, let's pick up the most popular tune. If I was playing it like this, it would be very tiring and it would take time. If I played like that, flicking, that creates immediately desired results. Now, when you start experimenting and playing staccato, I urge you to play it with separate hands because our different hands have different capacity, and what you can do easily in the right, you may not be able to do so much as easily in the left hand. So you can try and see, some people have, majority of people have actually right hand more advanced and left is a bit weaker. So on this note, that is what staccato is, and you can try to play any scale staccato, and it's a lot of fun. Now, talking about legato. Legato means connecting, so you connect one note to another, and imagine that you are not supposed to, in a sound which you produce, you don't want any stops, you don't want any breaks. So what you don't want to do is this. What you want to do and when we think about producing legato, why don't you think about how violinists play? When on a violin, on one movement of the bow, they sometimes can pick up several notes. So here, instead of a bow, we're using the wrist. Wrist is the key for successful legato. And you can try. And as I said in my episode with the scales, you lead with the wrist and your fingers will follow. The trick is, not the trick, but the word of caution, just lift your finger on time, because some beginners leave fingers dragging, and that creates quite a messy playing. So you really need to watch your hands. So you really need to watch your hand and make sure that your fingers are not dragging and you lift them on time. And again, right and left hand would be different. And you see which hand is playing better and which requires more work. And you can even start practicing legato, connecting 2 notes, connecting 3 notes, connecting 4 notes, connecting 5 notes, 6, etc., etc. So that's about playing legato. I would also say when you play legato, one more thing, I almost forgot, it's important to have strong fingers. But we need to understand that beginners or people who don't play piano much, of course they don't have strong fingers. So that's work they need to do separate. But in ideal case scenario, you use your wrist movement and you use beautiful legato movement with the fingers which follow the wrist. If you like this episode, please do leave your comments below underneath this video. Join me on the YouTube channel Piano Yoga and also on our Instagram. We would leave all the links underneath this video, and if you have any questions, please leave them underneath the video as well, and I will make sure I'll address them in my next episode. Thank you for watching.